In this GlassTracks training video, I'll be covering how to enter a customer part number. Customer part numbers are useful if you have customers who reorder the exact same products with the exact same specifications. And on top of that, you can give them a different name that your customer recognizes so that when they receive that product on the label or on invoice or whatever you want, if you want to print their customer part number, they might see it and recognize it into their own system. Because you might have a different item ID than they might call it, right? So the first thing we're going to do is come to the Sales tab, and I'm going to scroll over to the right, and I'm going to go to the Master Files section and go to Pricing, and select this Customer P/N part number pricing right here. And I'm going to click the N button for New, put in the customer this is for. In this case, I'm going to choose ABC Glass. If you don't know your customer ID, you can always look them up with the binoculars. You can give now your customer part number a name right here. This is whatever your customer might call this or whatever you might want to call it. In this case, I'm just going to say this is a sample cust part. You can give it a description right here, custom sample customer part. And then you pull in your actual item ID. So in this case, I'm going to say this is a mirror. So I'm going to say it's a 1/4 inch mirror. Okay, and again, if you don't know your item ID, you can always use the binoculars. You can choose to give it a default base and height if you want, and that way you don't have to define those measurements when you pull this in on a sales order. So in this case, let's say, yeah, they order the same mirror from me every time, and it's 24.5 by 17. And on this particular mirror, I'm going to add processing, like a flat polish or maybe a beveled edge or something like that. So I'm going to hit processing, I'm going to hit add, and I'm going to choose just a flat polish on here. I'm going to do all 4 sides, get the flat polish. I can add other processes as well and save that. But notice on this as well, as I'm adding these processes, if any of these are buyout, you can just check the buyout process right there, and you've got that going as a buyout. Now, if your product itself is a buyout, for example, let's say I don't keep this 1/4 inch mirror on hand, then you just have to make sure that the 1/4 inch mirror on the item screen is set up as a buyout item. So I would come here to my 1/4 inch mirror, and I would make sure that this buyout is set to yes right here. If it's not always a buyout, then your user has to remember to change that buyout drop-down menu on the sales order screen, which I'll show you in a moment, so that it can come as a buyout. All right, so that's it. I'm going to save this. I can put in my price. Let's say they get a special price. It's not $289. That's my normal price for this, but since I do it so often for them, I'm going to change it to $270 a square foot, and I'll save it. And now I'm done. So when I come in here now to sales and enter a sales order for ABC Glass, I'm going to fill out the top header information, and I'm going to go ahead and go to my detail, and I'm going to click this Get Customer Part button, which will show up right here. Get Customer Part. As soon as I define that line, Get Customer Part. And I can do a lookup for the one that we just did. Let's find it. It's sample is what I called it, I believe. Sample customer part right there. And it'll just ask me how many do you want. They want to order 4. Okay. And it should populate. There you go, 24.5 by 17. It's going to go ahead and add these default processes. I say yes. There it goes. Now it's got in there, there's the $270 that I defined, plus the $24 for this flat polish. Now again, if I want to come here and change this to be a buyout, I can. Otherwise, I can just say line finished or order finished if you're done with the order. And that is how you do customer part numbers. You set up specific part with, you can do measurements, pricing, processes, and have it all auto-populate based on your customer's preferences for repeat orders.